Hey, we're live. What are we on episode 42 now? We did 41 last week. A lot of stuff's happened. I know fantasy playoffs are kicking off this week. They're getting in full swing. The Bush League started last week, unfortunately. I didn't realize it either. But I did win, but it's a 2-week playoff, so 2-week per round playoff.
I didn't make it this year. I made it 5 years in a row, but I single-handedly or solely blame Brock Osweiler for sucking so much cock. Like, just hands down. Like, how can you not get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins?
Maybe because he's not as good as you think he is. I don't know.
I don't know.
Both of them, not just Brock.
Shitty QBs managed to get Hopkins 1,500 yards last year. So
yeah, we talked about that stat last week, and it seemed kind of crazy that 5 really bad QBs got DeAndre Hopkins 96% of the passes.
Yeah, Osweiler can't even figure out how to throw him the ball. I just feel that you could probably just say, "Hey, man, look, I'm going to pump, fake it, and I'm just going to lob it up in the air." Like I don't even think they can do that. I didn't even see him do that.
I will say I'm 5 for 5 for playoffs in my leagues this year.
I'm not.
So, yeah. So you want to talk about any cool games that you saw this past weekend? Unfortunately, I didn't watch a whole lot, but that Thursday night game turned out to be much better than we expected. The Cowboys did not lose like I had hoped. And Wilson's prediction did not go as planned, but he did still.
He
picked the Cowboys.
Yeah, it did. It came down to that one drive, like where they fumbled it. Like they were driving, and I was like, okay, they're gonna go up by a touchdown and win. And so I think they would have been up by 12 at that point or something if they would have kicked the PAT or whatever and made that, which I predicted like 13, and then they friggin' fumble the ball and whatever, man.
Then you got pretty conservative on your Sunday night pick, and it was a complete blowout.
God, man, I know, right?
And I thought about what's crazy about that game is Russell Wilson only had like 14 or 15 points. They won 40-7. Rawls had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, didn't they? Tyler Lockett had like a reverse or some shit for a touchdown too, didn't he?
Okay, so yeah, but I know Rawls had 3 touchdowns himself. And to be honest, the Panthers have just imploded this year.
Yeah, it was like week 1, I don't know if I told you this or whatever, but I was like, after week 1, that loss against the Broncos, I was like, this is going to hang over their head all season long, and they're going to be garbage, in which they really are. What are they like? They're 4-8 or something like that now?
I don't know. They're 4-8.
I don't know the record, but
they're 4-8.
Man, just ever since like in that Raiders game that I watched, they looked terrible until Derek Carr hurt his hand. Like after that, it's like they got some momentum going their way, and that's the only life I've seen out of the Carolina Panthers in weeks. And then that Monday night game where Cam Newton got benched because he didn't want to wear a tie. I read somewhere today where Ron Rivera told him on Saturdays, like, hey, you have to wear a tie.
They told him to wear a tie, but from what I read and saw, is that he didn't wear a tie because it clashed with his outfit.
Man, just do what you're told. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got 4 wins on the fucking season. Just do what your coach tells you, man. Just go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not going to the playoffs.
So looking at it this year, the Cowboys have already locked the playoffs, which
they have.
Is kind of crazy. But going into the hunt right now, the Raiders are number 1 in the West. The Pats are pretty much going to get locked. They're a 2nd seed. I don't know what the tiebreaker is there or how they're the 2nd seed.
It's just strength of schedule is why they're.
And then the Seahawks right now are kind of taking the spot for the other 2nd seed in the NFC. And then after that, it's not necessarily a toss-up, but it definitely is kind of –
the most part, it's a free-for-all, honestly. Yeah. I mean, there's so – if you're on that cut, on the bubble, on the cusp, in the hunt, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of things that have to go your way, for your team to get in.
With the exception of maybe the Ravens who, the NFL has this thing, if you win your division, you're in the playoffs. The Ravens – I don't know what their lead is, but I think they have a decent lead on.
They're like, are they 7-5? Are they 8-5 now?
They're 7-5. So they're 1 game ahead of the Bills. and tied with the Steelers, I believe.
Man, the way, like, I didn't watch the Bills game, like, it wasn't on TV, so I listened to it on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, you want to talk about a team imploding? Like, LaShawn McCoy was gaining, like, averaging 7 yards a carry, and then it was all of a sudden we just wrecked them or something. So
Yeah. So and then tying out the rest of the wild card prediction right now, you got the Broncos, the Chiefs, and then it's whoever win the division of the other one. That's literally how it goes. It's Raiders,
yeah,
the Patriots, and then it's Broncos, Chiefs, and then just whoever wins the division. So the Texans, Titans, and Colts are all tied for the AFC South.
I think that the Titans are going to win that division. Honestly,
I mean, if you look at their schedule on the way out, isn't probably that bad. Well, I just said that and opened it up. Broncos, Chiefs, Jags, and Texans. So they got to make it through the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they got like 2.5 tough teams. That half is the Texans.
Texans, I think, have a better shot at it. They play the Colts, Jags, Bengals, and Titans. And the Colts play Texans, Vikings, Raiders, Jaguars. So really, if you look at it, the Texans probably have the easiest road to the playoffs in that division right there.
Yeah.
The Ravens have the Pats, Eagles, Steelers, and Bengals left, so that one could be a toss-up. I really think either way.
Right.
It does look like the Lions will finally make their first playoff in a long time.
We always think that then something happens. We'll have to see. So let's get into let's do a little pick 'em here. We had talked about this, last week. We didn't really get to implement it or post anything about it. So
yeah,
let's go through. We're going to hit the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night game, and then we picked 2 other notable games for it. So starting with the Thursday night game, I wrote an article. We're going to post that later, but I picked the Chiefs to win by 2. It's going to be real tough for the Raiders. They're traveling on a short week. Carl Joseph's hurt, so Nate Allen's coming in for him. And, we're playing – they're going to probably be playing in 30-degree weather or something along those lines. So, I don't know. It seems like every time we play the Chiefs just – they're a well-oiled, mediocre offensive team is what they are. And so, I mean, their defense hasn't been that great. They have like a bend, don't break mentality. I say that, and last week their defense won them the game, but I don't know. They always find a way to just stick it right up our ass every time we play them, and I cannot stand it.
And I kind of think if you look at it, and for Thursday night game between Kansas City and Oakland, I'm actually picking Kansas City. The same for Wilson, and the reason I'm saying this is that their defense is better and their offense is not that bad.
I mean, when you look at the stats, like I was looking at it earlier, I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah.
The Chiefs' defense, now, okay, so yards allowed, they're 29th in the league, but they're 9th in points allowed. So like I'm saying, that when it comes down to the red zone, it seems like they're tightening up pretty good. They don't allow teams to score on them.
So you're looking at they also let Trevor Siemian throw for 303 touchdowns on them. What do you think old Derek Carr will do against them? I think the only difference is this game is very similar to the Broncos-Raiders game that happened. The only difference is that this offense is better than the Broncos offense.
We'll have to see, man. We're going to have to see what happens. Like I said,
I'm picking KC, but I think if it was at Oakland, I'd probably pick Oakland.
We'll see. They beat our ass earlier this year in Oakland, so it was raining. I don't know what our team was doing.
I wish just getting started. Like really, the Oakland has come alive in the last 5-6 games.
Well, no, I mean, like we're on a 6-game win streak right now, but you got to think week 1. Well, granted, it's against the Saints defense, but we've been putting up 20, 30 plus points every week. So, and then against the Chiefs, we laid an egg. I think we scored like 10 or something like that. But whatever, we both got the Chiefs. And then let's move on to the Sunday night game, which is Dallas and the Giants. And I think
It is
The
in New
Giants beat
York.
them earlier in the season, right? That's the only.
That's the first game they played.
Yeah, and the Giants beat them, but I got Dallas winning this one. Dallas is on a roll. They've kind of found their groove, and Jason Pierre-Paul's he's done for the season, so that's going to hurt them, hurt the Giants. I got Dallas winning at least by, I don't know, like a touchdown or two, like 2 scores, maybe a touchdown, a field goal, something like that. But I think that Dallas is going to win
I think this
comfortably.
game will be very reminiscent of that Thanksgiving game between the Redskins and the Cowboys. I think it's going to be pretty similar. It's going to be point for point almost all day long. And my honest thought is that Giants is going to pull it out in the end because that's what Eli does. He wins in the last quarter of the game. I mean, Dak has been doing really good this year, but Eli has been doing it for 10 years.
So, do you think that Eli Manning is like Rocky Balboa, where you just like beat the hell out of him the entire time, and he's just looking at you with that one eye? He's like, "Hey, yo, Adrian," and at the end, he just breaks your will. After you've just given him all you got, he finds a way to beat you down.
Tom Brady can attest to that. I think that's what he does. I think, I don't know. Eli usually turns it on down in the stretch, and not so much the other 2/3 of the league of the year. So the Monday night game, going from that one, the Monday night game, you got the Pats talking about Tom Brady versus Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, where's that game being played at?
It's in New England.
It's in Patville. I have the Patriots. I mean, like the Ravens, they play good, they play tough, but I mean, even without Gronk, you still think that Patriots will find a way to get it done. They seemingly always do. So
they ran it this past weekend down the Rams pretty well, in my honest opinion.
That's the Rams, though. I mean, like, you can say what you want about their defense, but it's still the Rams, man.
It's top half of the league. That's the only reason they even are close to 500 is because of that defense.
Damn, it's the Rams.
So in this one, I have the Pats too. Mainly looking at it down the stretch, the Ravens haven't necessarily played that well. They have squeaked by with some wins. They did kill the Dolphins last week. Barely beat the Bengals. Of course, beat the Rams. Lost by 10 to the Cowboys. Lost to the Jets. Lost to the Giants.
They lost to the Jets?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's terrible.
Lost to the Redskins. Lost to the Raiders, of course. They beat Jags by 2 points in the first part of the year. I mean, they are a very inconsistent team that somehow squeaks by and are 7-5 for the playoffs right now.
I feel wasn't that like the Ravens team when they won the Super Bowl though? It's like there's always that sneaky one, that one sneaky team that somehow gets in.
Maybe
and they cause
they owe that Super Bowl to Brandon Roby though, but
no, it was just a hell of a throw.
Brandon Roby went for the pick instead of the tackle. If he went for the tackle, the game would have been over.
Rainbow pass. All right, so we both got the Patriots on that one. And then another game we wanted to touch on a little bit was the Broncos-Titans game that you're going to come up here and enjoy on Sunday.
It's actually supposed to be raining. It's 90% chance of rain right now on Sunday.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain up here all week long. I picked the Broncos. Man, Mariota won like AFC Offensive Player of the Month for last month, but I don't know, man. They're just young. They don't have weapons all over they don't have great players all over the place. It's like Mariota, DeMarco Murray, and what's his name? Delaney Walker. That's like it on offense. So, I mean, they can run the ball really well, and that's how Oakland beat the Broncos. But you got to think, man, they're in crunch time. If they want to make it in the playoffs, they got to get their head out of their ass and start playing tough. So I got the Broncos winning in this one.
I think that's the piece is that they're third in the league in rushing. So the Broncos defense doesn't necessarily have the middle of the road, middle of the line type structure to stop that run. As you saw through the subpar Raiders backfield somehow kind of dismantled them.
7th overall in rushing right now.
But I think that's the piece that scares me, that rush attack that the Titans have this year. can really hurt them. However, I'm picking the Broncos mainly because I'm a homer. I do think this game is a kind of a question mark, just because if Paxton Lynch starts, who the hell knows what's going to happen? Because he just had trouble with the Jaguars all day this past weekend. The defense won that game.
I will say this though about the Jags, like the Jags defense is not as bad as everybody, thinks they are. Like I think their passing defense is pretty decent, aren't they?
I mean, I don't know, but
I don't know, but I'd give props to the Jags defense a little bit.
They spent, millions of dollars this year getting Sean Gibson, Prince Amukamara. They drafted Ramsey. They got Jonathan Cyprien, one of the better safeties in the league these days.
They have Miles Jack as well, but I don't know what the shit he's doing. They have Dante Fowler.
Yeah.
But
the big piece that I want to get into this is that the Titans' pass defense is pretty awful. So if the Broncos are going to win the game, they're going to have to rely heavily on their wide receivers and hope that their quarterback doesn't get tackled every play.
The Titans' passing offense relies solely on Mariota and the run game, like his ability to fake, run the play action and stuff like that. It's like run the ball, play action, have one guy wide open downfield or some shit like that, and single coverage. So that's all it is. And then their pass defense is terrible. So you know what? If Paxton Lynch is playing this week, it may work out because like I said, the Titans pass coverage is not good. It's so bad that they cut Parrish Cox. Like that's how bad that they're.
He got destroyed by the Bears, right?
I can't remember. It might have been like. Regardless, the Titans got lucky that game. They should have lost that game.
They did. So the last one we got on the list for the pick'ems is the Packers versus the Seahawks.
Yeah, and I picked the Seahawks after they beat the hell out of Carolina like they did last week, and the Packers' defense is as bad as they are. I mean, there should be no reason that that this even comes close. You would think that with Rawls doing what he's doing, that they're just going to pound the ball the entire time. I mean, control the clock, run the ball. That's all you got to do, man.
Yeah, the Seahawks offense is around 15th in the league on about all categories. The Packers offense is a little bit higher than that, or closer to 10. I really think this is going to come down to that defense, and the Seahawks does have a better defense. But I think the Packers can contain the Seahawks offense. So in this one, I'm picking the Packers mainly because we're coming down the stretch, and this is typically when Aaron Rodgers starts to shine a little bit heavier. I mean, I think a slight edge to them, and sort of the fact, aren't they playing in Lambeau? Yeah, they're playing in Lambeau too. So I think home field advantage might lean a little bit more to the Packers. So.
Well, I mean, think about it though. That defense is bad. Like they are very bad. I don't know, man. It's going to be something. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers and them can't score. Earl Thomas is out, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's just.
I mean, their points are allowed in the bottom half of the league, but the Seahawks appear to be living solely on the rush these days, or almost solely on the rush, and the Packers are top 10 in the rush on defense.
I don't know, man. We'll have to see, but Jimmy Graham's coming around, and we'll just have to see what happens. But
I wish Jimmy Graham would have went to the Packers. It'd been insane.
Yeah, I think you should have went to the Raiders, but that's just me.
I mean, you got any fancy pickups or drops this week? I know the big one that I saw that I figure people should do is probably pick up Ladarius Green if you got it.
Yeah.
And then LaFell, because A.J. Green's out. Brandon LaFell is a good pickup, especially if you're having some trouble with the wide receiver spot. Why not just give him a shot?
Yep. I really can't think of anything.
It's a pretty short episode this week.
If you are out of the playoffs and you are playing but for nothing but pride, and you're in a keeper league, I suggest just dropping everybody you can't keep and just Start stacking up the keepers, man. Anybody that you think might have a shot to start next year, running backs, wide receivers, just pick them up.
Yep, definitely. I would definitely try to do that. Short episode this week. We don't have Nick. I don't know when Nick will be back.
Should be next week, but we're gonna post my article, my Thursday Night Football preview. I'm gonna try and do these as much as I can. I work a full-time job, so I don't have all the time in the world to just churn out all these articles, these previews and recaps, and whatever else is going on in the NFL. So.
Wilson's point, do go to the ffdraftbus.com, and then we have a new section called Notes by Wilson. And if you click on that, as you can see this blue tint on my face from going to the website, you can go there and you'll see all the different previews and stuff. So,
Yep. But I didn't do a Monday Night Football. I'm going to try and do notable games that I can write something funny about or people would want to watch. Like I didn't write anything for the Monday night game. Because, damn, it's the Jets and the Colts, man. Like, you saw the product we had on the field. The Jets didn't even try. I should have wrote something about that, honestly. Like, that's probably, from what I heard, I didn't subject myself to watching that garbage because I knew it was going to be a shit fest, but that's probably the worst showing by an NFL team this season. By the Jets, is from what I heard on the radio and on the internet and everything else. They said dudes who just weren't trying. And what the hell is Darrelle Revis doing, man? Like, you should be ashamed of yourself for getting out there, getting all that money and just getting your ass burned.
Well, T.Y. Hilton also had like 150 and 0 touchdowns.
Well, Dwayne Allen had 3 TDs in the first half, man. I mean, like, you know what I would do if I were to if I were game planning to play against the Jets, I would run my tight ends in the middle of the field, and whoever was on Revis, and he was playing kind of up, I would just make them do sluggos and go routes the entire time. That's all I would do.
Well, I'm about to post Wilson's Thursday Night Football preview out here. Doing it right now as we're on this podcast. I don't know what else we have for this week. It's a short episode. It really is. We ain't got a whole lot to go by. We're just trying to get some content for you fools to watch and listen. Of course, when Nick's on here, we have more jokes and we can make more fun and tell our stories as we see.
I'm shitting behind a liquor store after going to Old Chicago. That's probably happened 5 more times since the last story you told us about. But go to our website, get us some traffic going, man. We're trying to get content on there. We want to make money eventually. I mean, let's not lie. Let's just tell them how it is.
At least want to pay for itself.
Click on some shit. I don't care what you click on. Just click on something. Just go to our website. Just leave a angry comment about how I talk shit about your beloved Chiefs on last episode or in my latest article. You can do that. Whatever you want to do.
I like your tiny hands picture, and I'm about to.
Oh yeah.
Here's one I found where someone photoshopped Jared Goff's face over
over the picture I had.
Yeah. I wish that was Alex Smith's face. That'd be even better.
Why don't you get that guy we know to do some editing work for us and make that happen?
I wish. I could probably do it real quick, but
well, I don't have anything else for this week, so.
Yeah, I don't either, everybody. So until next week, we'll get another episode, and maybe we can get Nick to crank out one of them good stories of his. We just posted our first GIF or GIF now into Wilson's article.
Awesome.
So that's it. Everybody take it easy. ffdraftbust.com, ffdraftbust on Twitter, draftbust on Facebook. And then, of course, you can always just tell us things. We like hearing y'all.
Yeah, you want to have a conversation? Fucking tweet us some messages, DM us, whatever the hell you want to do, man.
Slide in our DMs, please.
Yeah, you slide in there.
Anyway, take you some time. Hope you're doing good in your fantasy playoffs. Talk to everybody next week.